I was about to head out today, and I thought I would record some of my thoughts. Sometimes you think about things that you noticed in the past that you lived through that you forget, and certain things trigger those thoughts for me. And I think about what's going on now, around the country, and I think about how we got immigration problem. Not that I have anything against it. I think it should be, a legal pathway for all immigrants to come in this country, which is in place, and it should be followed by anyone who wants to come in this country and be a part of this country. Um, but in the past few years, there's been a lot of videos about how um, there's a lot of fraud in the system, of the United States, and it's been exposed a lot. With immigrants coming in and getting paid to get here, to live here, and getting set up in apartments, homes, and getting cars with money on them, getting cars, you know, getting health care, social security numbers, driver's license, and things of that nature. And um, on a taxpayer dollar, you know, on a taxpayer dollar. I'm a taxpayer. And so, I'm trying not to get too involved in it, the way it is. Uh, you know, I try to use my voice, that to help, not to hurt, because I'm learning while I talk, But it reminds me of when I was little, you know, when I was younger, in the neighborhoods that I grew up in, those neighborhoods were more structured. You had more family in those neighborhoods. Everybody knew each other, And you go from one street to the other. You knew the people on the streets. You knew the moms, the children, the dads, they knew you. Stay out all night long and go play and come back, and no harm or hurt or danger would come to you. But I also remember the grocery stores that were in the neighborhoods. The neighborhood I grew up in was predominantly black. I'm not going to name it, but it was a predominantly black neighborhood. But I remember that they had 3 grocery stores in that neighborhood. And back in that day, the neighborhood stores were inside of the neighborhood. They were on the main street. They were in the main street going through the neighborhood, and we had 3. We had 3, and all 3 of them stores had Asian or Indian people in those stores, owning those stores. Now, back in that time, we did have neighborhood stores that were owned by blacks too, and an equal number that were in that neighborhood as well at that time. So you had a choice to go to either one. The black stores were somewhat smaller than the Asian stores, but yet still they were vital. They were vital. Back then you can go. They had delis, like all of them had meat that they had to take back and cut and slice. You didn't go get packaged meat. They had. I know one store that we had in the neighborhood. It had a wooden floor on the inside. Excuse me. It had the counter where you pay when you first walk in. Then it had a the whole meats where you can get bologna, salami, cheese, whatever, and you can get it sliced. And I knew the guys that worked at the store. Their dad owned the store. I went to school with them, and so I used to hang around that store all the time. Our folks had an account. We had an account there, and I used to go there all the time and buy my little RC cola and my honey bun and eat it, and I put it on the account. But I said this to say that those Asian stores were benefiting from our tax dollars coming into this country. And were they doing it illegally? Were they doing it the right way? I don't know, because all this stuff that I've seen coming in the past few years, in the past year or two, This fraud is so pervasive in our government. Who knows whether it was legal or illegal? Nevertheless, they got an advance in life better than you and I did because we stayed here. They were using our money to help these people come in and establish stores in our neighborhood. Even today, when you see a brand new store getting built and you go in and you see who owns it, you know, it is what it is. But that doesn't stop us. And I'm not talking about blacks, I'm talking about blacks, whites, Latino, whoever you are, from prospering in this country. Because it is a great country for someone to start something who never had anything. And I mean, you can go to other countries. I see videos in countries, India, for instance, they take the scrap that everybody else throws away, and they make things out of it. Without the modernization that we have in our factories, they make it with hard fought muscle, brains, and sweat and tears. They make these things, and so even though those things have happened, and they probably immigrants have gotten on the ground floor and had a better opportunity to start off than we have, it's still not too late. Still not too late, you know, to get in the game and to make things with your hands and be profitable in this country. So I'm just sitting back thinking, man, I just wanted to just express my thoughts, put them out there. Hey, if you have anything that you would like to add to it, man, just put it in the comments. This is not, professional advice. I'm just sharing my thoughts. Sharing my thoughts. And I haven't made a video in a while, so I thought I would. And this Dallas Cowboy, the cushion. That don't mean I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan like that. I just put it in the background because we had a garage sale and that got left. Actually, it wasn't for sale, but we found it afterwards. That probably would have been the first item that sold. But anyway, no, it's part of some stuff that I have. This is my little recording studio. Got my bicycle behind me here. Try to ride as much as I possibly can inside this office right here. I got it off the ground where you can, the back wheels off the ground where I can ride in place. Or sometimes I walk, but anyway, that's a story for another day. This is a working man channel. I just hope that this information was helpful, thoughtful for someone. Leave a comment, like, share, and the working man will be out. 10-4.